Hi guys, welcome to the Overdrive Digital Show. Hope you're having a good Friday. We have a lot packed for you on the show this week. We'll start off with the Suzuki, the Suzuki motorcycle. Suzuki has finally entered the quarter-liter ADV segment here in India with a gorgeous-looking V-Strom SX, and it undercuts its rivals in the form of the KTM 250 Adventure and the Benelli TRK 251 on pricing, which is 2,13,000 rupees ex-showroom. But is this the adventurous Japanese beauty merely skin deep? It's time to find out.
Hey guys, so we're out here today with the Suzuki V-Strom SX, the company's first entrant into the quarter-liter adventure motorcycle segment out here in India. Well, this motorcycle was just launched just last month at 2,13,000 rupees ex-showroom. And while this motorcycle is not the same as the V-Strom 250 that's available in markets abroad, that motorcycle comes with a nice twin-cylinder engine that has a lot of power on hand. This motorcycle that we're getting out here in India, well, this comes powered by the same 249cc single-cylinder engine that powers the Gixxer 250 naked that's already available in the country. Now, in terms of design alone, this Suzuki V-Strom SX looks very unique and quite outstanding. It's got certain traits of a proper adventure-focused motorcycle, as well as certain traits of a more road-biased motorcycle as well.
Starting with the wheel, you get a nice big 19-inch front wheel that's clad in a dual-purpose MRF tire, and this gives the bike a nice and imposing adventure-ready look at the first glance. It gets a disc brake and a telescopic front suspension, but there's not a lot of travel on the unit up front, which, along with the alloy wheels, just goes to show that this bike is more set up to waft over broken paved surfaces rather than tackle some tough terrain. The headlamp and the indicators are lifted straight out of the Gixxer 250's path spin, but their integration with the front fairing looks very nice and tidy. The bike gets a small fly screen up front, which, along with the beak that's synonymous with bigger Suzuki adventure bikes, gives the bike a purposeful stance when you look at it head-on and in profile. Now, behind that fly screen, you get the same all-digital LED screen that's lifted straight off the Avenue scooter. Now, there's a lot of information stuffed in there, and some of the readouts are really tiny, which is a bit annoying. But on the plus side, the turn-by-turn navigation that pops up on the left-hand side of the screen once you hook up your phone to it is fairly easy to decipher. The bike gets a nice wide handlebar, and it also gets knuckle guards, and this adds to the ADV vibes overall. The V-Strom SX stands at a good 205mm off the ground, and it also gets a bash plate to protect the engine from external forces. In terms of riding aids and safety features, this Suzuki doesn't come with any ride modes or traction control, but it does get dual channel ABS, and it also gets side stand down engine cutoff tech. Sadly, the ABS can't be switched off on the motorcycle, which is a telltale sign that although this bike really looks the part, it really isn't meant to go hard off-road. In terms of performance, the V-Strom SX gets the same 249cc single-cylinder liquid-cooled motor as the Gixxer, in the same state of tune. The gearing remains the same, and the motor continues to perform smoothly and in a very refined, stress-free manner. The 26.5 PS and 22.2 Nm on tap is spread all across the band, and the first two gears are rather short, while the other four are quite tall. So you'll find the bike very tractable and peaceful while riding through the city. Even though the motor loves to be revved, it still doesn't feel as quick or lively as the competition in the form of the KTM 250 Adventure.
So now, according to me, one real standout aspect about this motorcycle, the V-Strom SX, has to be its ride quality. Now, everything from the comfortable seat, which is nice, broad and accommodating, to the ergonomics, the nice wide handlebar, the forward set foot pegs, well, it's all very touring friendly if you ask me. Even in the city, riding this motorcycle is just a breeze. It's very simple, easy, comfortable, and very easy to get used to in the long run. So the suspension, the way it's set up, although there's not a lot of travel at both ends, well, this suspension just eats up undulated roads with ease. It's just a dream, and it's just so comfortable to ride. for both the rider and the pillion.
The bike feels so nicely balanced and it takes to long sweeping corners like a dream. So all in all, the V-Strom SX does tick a good amount of boxes when it comes to various on-road riding scenarios. But can it really be deemed the master of adventure?
At 2,13,000 ex-showroom, what do you get for this money? Well, it's a very comfortable motorcycle for one, commendable road manners, decent soft road manners as well. But given the competition in the form of the KTM 250 Adventure and the Benelli TRK 251, well, this motorcycle definitely seems to be lacking a certain amount of features and suspension travel as well. But if you're in the market for a very good, handsome looking motorcycle that's comfortable to ride both in the city and out on the highway on long distance rides, well, this is a motorcycle that you definitely should be considering.
Well, if you have any questions, this video is going to go live in another half an hour's time. Let's get Rohit and Bert on the show. Hi, Bert. Hi, Rohit.
Hey, Joini. Your audio, Rohit.
Oh yeah, sorry, it was on mute. Good evening, everyone. Good evening, Bert.
Good evening. And we're back. And I'm back in my office.
And so is your map.
Yes.
The map of India is back.
Yes.
It gets screen time again.
We also have Mayur Shah. He's back and he's saying that he thinks the V-Strom SX is not at all an off-roader. To be honest, it should be called a sort of an ADV tourer. It will be good to take long rides on this bike. What do you guys think?
Well, I think the perception for everyone is that, if you have SUV in the name or adventure motorcycle in the name, that it has to do off-roading. That's not necessary, honestly. Yes, that has been the ideal definition of these two words, but that doesn't necessarily mean that they have to go off-roading. The V-Strom 250 SX in particular, it's not trying to make any claims of being an off-roader to begin with. Yes, the bigger V-Stroms in the category are, of course, very off-road friendly, and you would expect that from this motorcycle as well. But as has been established very nicely by other adventure motorcycles as well, the moment you're looking at a 19 front, 17 rear combination with alloy wheels, you're looking at more of a road tourer, more of a GT in that sense. That's something that we saw with the KTM Adventure as well, and that's something that we see here as well. If you want more off-road focus, you have motorcycles like the X-Pulse in this category, or maybe even the Himalayan, which does a fair bit of off-roading with the kind of configuration that it is. So you could look at those motorcycles. The V-Strom is a nice, reliable Japanese adventure tourer. And you've rightly said that it doesn't look very off-road friendly, but I'm sure that it can do quite a bit, even with the kind of configuration that it has right now. Just that you will need to spec it with the right tires, not necessarily wire spoke wheels. Even with those alloys, you will be able to do a fair bit of off-roading that you would ideally encounter on your regular road trips. Even if you are today do something like Ladakh, go northeast, do some mountains down south, the kind of trails that you would encounter, I think the bike will certainly do all of that, even with the kind of configuration it has out of the box, without needing any modifications.
Rohit, Sagar Jadhav wants to know which is the best ADV tourer bike in India priced at 6 to 8 lakh rupees.
Well, there's only one viable option that I still see, and that's the Versys 650. It's around that price bracket. There are discounts going on as well, because the bike is quite old now. So I think that is still the most value for money offering in that space. Yes, there's the Benelli TRK as well, but I think it's just too heavy. I particularly do not like that motorcycle that much because of the kind of weight that it carries. So if I was buying and I had that kind of money to spend, I would look at the Versys 650. You could also, if you're okay with buying pre-owned motorcycles, you could also look at something like the Tiger 800. Triumph has a certified pre-owned department at most of their dealerships now, and you could end up getting a very good, well-kept Tiger 800 around that same price. You might have to extend a little bit because the resale value for the Tigers has gone up a little bit. I think Bert is already grinning, back there. So yes, you could look at a used Tiger 800 as well. I think that's the more all-rounder of a motorcycle. But if you're purely looking at tarmac touring, I think you could easily afford yourself a V-Strom 650 in this particular price bracket.
All right, but Vishnu wants to know if comfort is a priority, should he consider the Q5 or the NX 350H? He will be chauffeur driven in the week and self-drive over the weekend. How about the performance of the Lexus as compared to the Audi?
Well, I'd approach these two cars a little differently in the sense, or look at it from a slightly different perspective. The space inside, and with Audi, is essentially what you get or what you get a sense of is a very roomy, comfortable cabin. Right, you get a lot of airiness inside the cabin. There's a lot of light areas. And that's also because of the upholstery and the way it's upholstered, kind of gives you that structure, can give you the sense of space inside it. The Lexus, on the other hand, whether it's the NX or the ES or any of their cars for that matter, they use a lot of dark upholstery, and that essentially makes the cabin look a little claustrophobic, smaller than it actually is. But having said that, the Lexus is the nicer car to drive also or to be chauffeured in. I mean, where comfort and luxury is concerned, there are very few cars in the market that could come close to even what Lexus has to offer. Again, it's a hybrid, so you've got great efficiency as well. It's a nice car to drive, great engines. So I would recommend, yes, the Lexus if you're looking for something that you would want to be chauffeured in, you want a good-looking car, you want a great badge and a great association or a great manufacturer who produces bulletproof cars. In that sense, the Lexus is definitely the one to go in for. Where the Q5 stands out, essentially, like I said, is that cabin. It's got kit. Okay, all of the features are far more contemporary. You will feel more contemporary than what you would get in the Lexus. Lexus, it's a typically Toyota approach to making cars, and some of the things don't exactly feel as contemporary as it does on the European cars, especially where features are concerned. But apart from that, just as a car to drive or to be driven in, the Lexus is absolutely brilliant.
All right, our next question, Rohit, comes in from Aman. Is the Ducati SuperSport 950 worth the premium as compared to rivals like the Kawasaki or BMW?
Well, look at the brand name. It's a Ducati. It was always going to command a premium. It's like, you know, asking if a Ferrari or a Lamborghini should command that kind of a premium compared to a BMW M or an AMG. So I think that should be your answer. Yes, BMW is another exotic brand in that sense, but compared to the Super Sport 950, hardly any rivals. There aren't any. If you're looking for a full-fed motorcycle from BMW in that price bracket, there's nothing. There is, of course, the Kawasaki Ninja 650 and the Ninja 1000, and the Super Sport 950 is a very different motorcycle compared to both these motorcycles, is what I would say, having ridden them. It lies somewhere in between these two in terms of its performance from the engine, but in terms of the riding dynamics, the way this engine behaves, like I've always said in my reviews for this particular engine, these L twins need a slightly different riding style, acceleration style. You have to get used to the way these engines accelerate, the kind of fueling that they have. It's very different than a parallel twin or an inline four. So if it is to your liking, it's more like an acquired taste. Let me put it that way. Once you get the hang of it, they're a pleasure to ride. But if you can't get the hang of it, you might not enjoy them at all. There is no midway. There's no neutral point, anywhere. So if you like the way that engine behaves and the way the engine delivers power, and if you like that seating geometry, which is quite relaxed, just the way it is on the Ninja 650 or the Ninja 1000, you might really like this motorcycle.
Okay, Prabhan wants to know, you all have the privilege of testing and driving cars and SUVs. Which vehicles would you buy in the following brackets? First, up to 10 lakhs, between 10 to 20 lakhs, and between 20 to 30 lakhs on road.
Interesting question. So if I had to buy a car in the bracket up to 10 lakhs, I guess it would be the Swift, the Maruti Swift. If I had to buy something in the 10 to 20 lakh bracket, it would be the Seltos. And if I had to do something in the 20 to 30 lakhs on road, Octavia.
Okay, Rohit?
I would also go with the Swift in the 10 lakh rupee bracket. 10 to 20, I would get the Creta, the top of the line for sure, 1.4 DCT. And 20 to 30 lakhs, I would go with the Compass Sport, but with the diesel, or maybe just look at a used D-Max.
Okay. Prabhan, if you're considering any of these, then there you go.
By the Swift, because that's the only one we decided on together.
I don't understand why Swift, why not Baleno? Why Swift? The new Baleno is also there.
Yes, also, no, also. I mean, I don't think the Baleno comes in under 10 lakh rupees. It goes in above 10,
It doesn't?
the top end. And the Swift's the only one that is available under the 10 lakh rupee bracket.
Okay.
As in a really good car, if you know.
Suraj wants to know, is the Kia EV6 better than the BMW i4?
Interesting question, and a lot has been spoken about this, and it all kind of came down to the pricing. And Kia is not too far off the ballpark that I had assumed. I was assuming that it would be somewhere in the 57 to 58 bracket is where they would start going up towards 61, 62, and more or less they're somewhere about there, 59 for the rear wheel driven EV6 with the lesser power output, of course, 59 lakhs for that, and 64, 65 nearly for the all wheel drive. Isn't too bad pricing at all. Here, what will matter, of course, is the badge now, because BMW is offering the i4 and you're getting a BMW with all of the BMW characteristics at 69 lakhs, which is not bad at all, which is a very impressive price for the i4, because keep in mind it's also got that 80 kilowatt hour battery, 80 kilowatt hour plus battery. Fairly, no, sorry, I think 79 or 80 kilowatt hour. I don't remember it off the top of the head, but it's the largest, one of the larger batteries in the segment right now, and that gives you at least claimed range is about 590 kilometers. That's as per WLTP ratings. If I had to discount 30% of that, I would still get close to about 450 kilometers out of that car, which is very, very impressive. Now, coming to the EV6 though, let's not forget it's got better ground clearance. One, it's got a better package overall in terms of the size, the interior size, and the space that you would get. Very smartly packaged. It's got some great features as well, both the vehicle to load feature or the vehicle to vehicle charging feature. I mean, that is super impressive, which you cannot do through the i4. And then, of course, there's also the ADAS level, second level ADAS as well. So that also adds another dimension to safety, for that matter. So all in all, as a package, the EV6 is technically incomparable. I would recommend it over almost everything else in the market, unless you're looking for a larger SUV-ish kind of a vehicle, which would be the e-tron for that matter. The EV6 kind of ticks off all the boxes at this point in time, and I'm now quite curious to see what the Ioniq will be like and what will they offer in the Ioniq for the Indian market, because uh, and if it can be priced a little more competitive compared to the EV6. So right now, I would say yes, the EV6 is significantly better than the i4. If you're looking for a sedan, then certainly the i4 is your choice, an electric sedan. But otherwise, the EV6 trumps it in most respects.
Since you brought up the e-tron also, Bert, Mayur is mentioning that Audi is celebrating 15 years in India. Which is the best Audi till date sold in India? Please don't say R8 because it is a given.
Uh, well, not really. There've been some other nicer cars also, and some of my, firm favorites within Audi's entire fleet that they've sold in India. There is the A8 with the W12 engine. Absolutely brilliant car, a smashing car, one of the highest top speeds I've ever achieved in a sedan. A standard everyday sedan was in that car. I'm not telling you where this happened, but I hit almost about 298 in that car, which is insane. Then, of course, there are other SUVs also. Q3 being one of them, one of my absolute all-time favorites. The Q3 has been a brilliant SUV, and I'm saying this because I've driven it extensively across the country, and it's been an absolute joy to drive. The RS5, another absolutely brilliant car, just mind-boggling to see what it can do. The e-tron as well, as an electric vehicle, brilliant package to showcase what electrics are capable of and what they can deliver and how they can be your everyday driver. So I think in that way, these are the three or four of the Audis that I really am quite fond of. Not the R8, and while it's a fantastic car, the R8 isn't one of my favorites.
Okay, Dilip wants to know, is there any chance of Tata bringing proper 6-speed gearbox for Nexon in diesel like Kia did for the Sonet? Because it's such a good SUV and what's lacking is an automatic gearbox. Pricing is at around 12 to 14 lakh rupees.
Well, not at this point in time, Dilip. There is no news about Tata coming in with a regular or a top converter 6-speed gearbox for the Nexon. And everything that they will be using at this point in time will largely be AMTs for those segments. So I don't see that happening anytime soon.
Okay, we have a question, Rohit from Mangesh. With even Volkswagen and Skoda cutting corners these days, is it too much to ask performance and quality in mass market segments?
No, certainly not. Certainly not. I think we took a similar question last week as well on the show, where I was pretty candid about it, and I said that it's not expected from a company like or a group like Volkswagen to have these kind of problems. that are rampant right now with the four products that the two brands have launched, and they certainly ought to have given better quality. I understand that going up against Maruti or the Koreans is not an easy affair. Matching the price is not an easy affair. Most manufacturers have been struggling. Some manufacturers have had to leave the country because they've just not been able to match the input costs of a Maruti or a Hyundai or a Kia. So I understand that there are challenges, but at the same time, I think they should have planned better. Like I said last time, with the kind of testing that they have put in for so many years, we've been seeing these test fuels for so many years. Despite all of that, these kind of problems like the fuel pump failing and EPC errors and whatnot, and then of course the quality issues that everyone's been complaining about now, the owners have been complaining about. I think they ought to have created better products.
So when you're on mute.
Sorry, I said I see our producer Vivek saying hi. He is out of action, guys, this week, recovering from a surgery. But great to know, Vivek, you're watching as well. You can also ask us a question if you have any. Rohit, one more question.
What wheelchair should I use in the interim period? All-wheel drive or two-wheel drive?
Or an electric one.
Or an electric one?
Rohit, Ashutosh also has a question. He wants to know, would the Maruti Toyota hybrid SUV or crossover be a segment disruptor?
Well, Maruti entering any segment is always a matter of worry for all of its rivals because the amount of dealerships, I look at it this way: the amount of dealerships that they have in the country, even if every dealership manages to sell 2-3 vehicles every month, that's a huge volume, right? So it has every chance of becoming a market disruptor, is what I would say. Of course, they're bringing hybrid technology to this segment. And knowing Maruti, they'll be extremely competitive on the pricing, unlike some of the other brands. Toyota could be at a slightly premium end of this segment, but Maruti will certainly be very competitive with its pricing. And they've waited long enough to create that Creta arrival. 2 generations of the Creta have passed now, and Maruti has not had a convincing answer to the Creta. So they've waited long enough, and I think they will throw the kitchen sink at it. When it comes to brimming it with features and making sure that it is the right product. So they will not be betting only on the hybrid technology is what I'm hoping. We've seen now with the Baleno, with the upcoming Brezza, that connected tech is also something that Maruti is actively looking into. They're taking infotainment very seriously. They're taking that in-cabin experience very seriously. That was something of a bit of a gray area with previous generation Maruti Suzuki cars. And now with all of that, looking positive for the brand, and with this being their flagship product, I am hoping that they have a really, really convincing product there that can be a game changer and a disruptor.
But Sagar Jadhav wants to know, why aren't all car manufacturers following international safety standards like crossbars on the door and roof? Is pricing an issue?
Of course, pricing is an issue, Sagar. You cannot have all the and international safety standards. There are no international. So international safety and standards, all three of them don't match. Okay, so they don't meet every car across the world. Every country has its own safety standards, and they don't necessarily all follow Euro NCAP or Global NCAP or any other national, sector of automotive performance and testing. They don't follow all of those recommendations all the time, and this has also got to do with manufacturing, because if you had to put all of these safety features in place, the price of a car would go up so steeply, very few would be able to afford them. Which is a great thing. A lot of roads, a lot of people would go and get off the roads and get into using metros or the trains or buses for that matter. But still, the point is, it would make cars very, very expensive. So, that's why manufacturers follow standards that have to be prescribed to in this country. It is up to the government to prescribe what these standards are. So the government of India, once they prescribe a standard, the manufacturers will meet those standards and offer whatever safety features are there. Now, the crossbars in doors and roof, again, not very necessary. Those crossbars, and what we're talking about is a roll cage essentially. Those roll cages are used for very, very high performance cars, and very few of them, keep that in mind, use them. And of course, for racing vehicles and for racing and rallying for that matter, that's why the roll cages are used. Otherwise, nobody really uses crossbars in doors and the roof for that matter. So this is just purely to do with performance and racing cars. I think at the top end, from what I can recollect, Porsche, if I'm not mistaken, the GT3 or the GT3 RS is one of the only cars to have the roll cage in it. Otherwise, nobody else really puts crossbars in doors and roofs any longer.
Okay, I seem to be having internet issues. I'm just telling you all because I just suddenly disappeared in between. Okay, we have a question here from Tushar. He says he wants to buy the XUV 700, the AX7L. Is this a good car or should he look for another option?
Tushar, I would recommend just hold on for a little while longer because in just about a month, Mahindra is going to be coming out with the Scorpio and launching that. And you might want to see that as well. Though there are different segments for that matter, but if I had to, take into consideration the space, the size of the vehicle, performance as well, both of them would be pretty close to each other. Unless you're looking for a little more premiumness and more features that the XUV700 has to offer. In that sense, then yes, it's a decent car overall. I think Mahindra has cleared out a lot of issues that they've had in the past with the car. A lot of it has been ironed out, and they've done a better job of it currently. So it's not a bad investment at all. But I would still recommend wait for a little while longer, see what the Scorpio has to offer because it's just about a few weeks away now. The drive is going to happen in a few weeks from now. So we will have more information for you on the Scorpio as well. But I would suggest wait for a little while and see. That might also, might interest you. Also keep in mind the Scorpio will come with the 4x4 powertrain, which is a full, a full spec 4x4, not just the all-wheel drive powertrain that the XC700 has. Maybe that would also be of interest to you.
Guys, for every question that is being answered, I would like to remind you that we would love to see thumbs up. So we will refuse to answer questions if you all don't give us a thumbs up immediately for every question that is answered. Rohit, Akshay wants to know, is the City EHEV E85 Flex fuel compliant?
No, not right now. But that work is also in progress, is what Honda tells us. When that fuel actually becomes available, they'll ensure that the engine is also capable of running on that fuel. But as of now, it is not, is what Honda has told us.
Okay,
So there's an
what?
interesting question here. Hang on. There's a question over from Dilip Kumar Reddy. Are there any green vehicles apart from electric, hydrogen-powered vehicles as of now? Because both of these have their own share of limits and can't be used forever like an ICE car. What do we have? Yes, you have the cycle, the bicycle. That's the greenest vehicle that you can get. It is hoping that manufacturing processes are green. But apart from that, there aren't any other green technologies. What you need to understand, Dilip, is that electricity or hydrogen is a source of fuel for the vehicle. What you're using is an electric motor. That electric motor is replacing an ICE engine or an ICE internal combustion engine. So you're just replacing one powertrain for another, but the source of fuel, which in this case remains electricity or hydrogen, that's the only thing that changes. Now, electricity, of course, the generation of electricity is not clean in this country as of now, and it's not clean in a lot of other countries across the world. Hydrogen, there are other challenges to hydrogen, but again, it's a finite fuel source for that matter. But even then, I mean, hydrogen still is a longer lasting or a longer cyclable fuel for that matter than anything else currently. The challenges right now are with storage of hydrogen, which is expensive, which is there's a lot of safety issues that need to be addressed as well. But once hydrogen becomes, all of those are sorted out, hydrogen will become the fuel of choice for all automation in the country, all across the world.
Okay, Rohit, Paul Vincent wants to know, can we expect any other two-wheeler from Mahindra apart from Mojo?
I'm not sure. So essentially, Mahindra also owns Classic Legends. So I think that is the only one that is showing promise for them right now. I don't think under the regular Mahindra two-wheelers brand, they're going to be doing much. I think it's only the Classic Legends that they will now be betting on. Anyway, the retro segment is the second hottest segment after the adventure motorcycles, and they've been doing pretty well with Java and the SD now. And who knows, maybe BSA might also be launched in the country going forward. It has been received quite well. At least the first impressions of the vehicle have been quite positive from UK. Whoever's seen the motorcycle, no one has ridden the motorcycle just yet, but it is going to be manufactured here and exported outside. And if it's going to be manufactured here, I don't see a reason why they shouldn't launch it in India. So that could be the next big thing from Mahindra two-wheeler, so to say. But that would come under the BSA brand. So it will be the Classic Legends that will take the game forward for Mahindra.
But here's a question from Nipun Sharma. He says he's booked the Virtus, but he's apprehensive about the DSG on the 1.5. He's test driven both the 1 liter and 1.5, but he likes the 1.5. Has Volkswagen taken any steps to ensure long term reliability of the DSG?
Well, Nipun, the DSG, yes, there used to be issues with the DSG, especially overheating and the transmission failing. But that was really way back in the past. Of late, those issues have been ironed out almost completely, and there are very few concerns with this. Yes, there is still some amount of heating that you would feel from the DSG transmissions, but that is natural and that is expected. But yes, there aren't really any concerns as such with the DSG box that should dissuade you from buying it. It is probably the better transmission with the 1.5. That's the nicer car. The Virtus is definitely the nicer car with that engine and transmission configuration.
But Aman wants to know, why did Audi discontinue the R8 in India when it's available in international markets? It would have been a great rival to the Porsche 911 Turbo S.
Well, Aman, the R8 is anyways going to get discontinued in 2023. So it's not going to be there in production any longer. And I believe they might make an electric out of it. But what they've also said, what we've also seen for that matter, is the RS and the RS GT. And that is probably the better of the R8 for that matter. Again, sustainable car, electric powertrain, phenomenal performance. We've driven it, tested it, and it's just a mind-boggling car to drive. So to me, I mean, again, R8, yes, it could have been a great fit for India at some point, but the numbers were so limited. It really didn't make sense to invest in the R8 and rather go, towards electrics and work that plan out. And there were other cars that Audi India was selling and had to focus on rather than the R8. And that's why, I mean, they just discontinued it because there really wasn't a market. There weren't the people who were buying an R8, at least not as many as they were buying Porsches for that matter. So there you go. The R8 was discontinued.
And to refresh everyone's memory, the first e-tron concept from Audi was actually an electrified R8. It looked like an electrified R8. So, going forward, that body style could make a comeback with a fully electric powertrain, like Bert just said. I think Sohini is frozen.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Oh, and now there are two Sohinis.
Oh my God, I don't know what to do. Can you see me
Yeah,
now?
that-
There's one.
Yes. Another
Oh my
two.
God. I still can't see
I-
it.
that
Just
that
keep it-
looks
just
like
keep it
I
up.
don't know what to do, Sohini.
Let's leave it and play a trick on
Because
everyone's minds.
I couldn't see
So you
anything.
just pick that pose and just
Stop
we
it.
know which
What?
screen. We won't know which
Stop
screen you're
it.
talking.
I don't even know what question you were
Here's
playing. I
another
can't
interesting question. Another interesting question that I saw here, and this was also about the Porsche. Yeah, Abhinav Singh. Abhinav Singh had a question for us, and Rohit, I think both of us. Some claim that the Porsche 911 is the greatest sports car of all time. Do you think the same? How does it compare to the BMW M8 competition? You have an answer to that, Rohit? Porsche
Yes,
fanboy.
please go watch my BMW M8 review. I have said that it doesn't match the 911. The 911 is the greatest sports car of all time. The handling is absolutely magical. I don't know how they do it, but they just get it right every single time. And no matter what generation of the 911 you drive, you will see that the handling is significantly better than some of the other greatest sports cars around it. So yeah, it's just magical. I just hope I'm able to get a 911 for myself at some point of time.
Yep. You don't need to focus the screen on you, Sony. So Rohit just said it. Okay, we can move on to the next question, Abhinav.
Okay, Rajesh Khare is telling us today is World Bicycle Day, and if you've been paying attention, Bert just said that we should buy bicycles as well. So great! It's now that we know that it's World Bicycle Day. Is there any other question?
Well, I'm
This
waiting to
is
actually
lot-
get back on my I'm waiting to get back on my cycle. Yeah. I've not been able to ride for a while now, and someone just messaged me saying, "How's your leg right now?" But I'm just waiting for me to get back to driving, riding, and cycling.
Okay. We have a question here from Dr. Nisarg Chavan. What's your view about flex fuel engine, and will regular fuel car be discontinued?
Okay, so two questions. Regular fuel cars will be discontinued. Inevitable. That's going to happen. Okay, you don't have a choice about it. Everybody's going to have to shift to electric. This flex fuel nonsense that has been going on in between. This is all BS. All right. This is just absolute BS in the interim period. This is government of India peddling and pushing an under the table agenda. And it's honestly, it's not going to solve any problems. It's not going to take away the burden for anybody. If we had to, we had to shift to hybrids, which is a far better option. But we haven't done that. So obviously, I don't know why and where this flex fuel, conundrum came up. But it was drawn up and it was brought up, and again, it's not going to serve any purposes. But yes, regular fuel will be discontinued in some time. I think give or take another decade, maybe a little longer than that in India. We will rule out IC engines entirely and have just purely electrics.
But here's another question. Sagar wants to know, what about FASTags? Will it be replaced by GPS tag to collect tolls?
Sagar, let's not talk about this fast tags and GPS tags. This is again another piece of BS being peddled around. Because fast tags, I mean, honestly, it's a pain in the wrong place where the sun don't shine. These things don't work seamlessly anywhere across the country, and I've been driving around extensively. Rohit will vouch for that also, because he's been driving around using my fast tag, Rohit, by the way. And
which is now blacklisted, Bert. Which is now
it
blacklisted.
is not blacklisted. It will come back. You please send that FASTag back to me. I will get it listed again. But the point is, all of this, I mean, it doesn't work seamlessly. What will work, comfortably, what will work very easily and smoothly in Bombay may not work very smoothly in Pune. May not work. It may work in Karnataka, but suddenly won't work in Kerala. It's ridiculous the kind of problems that FASTags seeing. Sometimes you have to hold them up to the window. Sometimes you can put them on the dashboard. Sometimes you get them out of the window, stick it to the car. I mean, stick it to the whole bonnet, roof. I don't know where, but it's just ridiculous. I've seen so many people driving ahead, backing up, trying to figure out the right position. FASTag is not supposed to work that way. FASTag is not, is not millimeters or inches based. It's a wide signal. It's supposed to catch a signal from anywhere. But it's ridiculous to see the way FASTag has been working around this country. They're absolutely archaic systems, just peddling rubbish across the country. That's all that FASTag has done. Just moronic.
Okay, Rohit, Kaushik Gowda wants to know, is there any way to get RC390 adjustable suspensions in India?
Yes, import them. I mean, you should be able to source them from Thailand or Malaysia. There is an Öhlins suspension kit for the RC390. Not the new one, I'm guessing. I'm not sure about the new one yet, but at least the older one, the one with the two round headlights. For that, you do get a fully adjustable suspension kit from Öhlins. It is quite pricey. With taxes and everything, it might just cost almost as much as a used RC390 right now. But if you really want it, that is something that you can look at.
Okay, I'm going to be
So another
brave.
question I got to take over.
Oh, thank God.
Interesting question, because this needs to be addressed also. This is the elephant in the room. Nitin Joshua has a question for us. What are your thoughts on Tata overtaking Hyundai, and they yet don't have a rival to Hyundai's best-selling car, the Creta? Imagine if Tata brings it. So Nitin, this is how we need to look at it also. Okay, these are wholesale numbers that are being published across media. This is numbers that Tata Motors manufactures and sells to dealers. This is not the number of cars that consumers have purchased. Let's be very clear about it. So Tata Motors in the last month manufactured a lot more than Hyundai, and that's how they went ahead. Not because they sold more cars. What they talk about is wholesaling, which means Tata Motors, after having manufactured 100,000 cars, sold 100,000 cars to its dealers. The dealers have to purchase these cars. It's a notional purchase, but the dealers buy this inventory, and then the dealer sells this inventory to consumers. And Hyundai did not manufacture as much. They had less manufacturing happening because there's already a lot of stock of theirs lying out in the market, and they don't really need to. But also there is that semiconductor shortage which is affecting all of them, again including Hyundai, Tata Motors as well. But let's not be under this illusion. What we're seeing, where these comments coming on Tata overtaking Hyundai, the second largest manufacturer, it's not the case. It all depends on what Vahan data shows us as to how many Tata Motors vehicles were registered in that particular month. Would give you a more accurate idea of what their position in the market is now. Having said that, I do hope and do sincerely hope that Tata Motors has done a great job, and across Vahan they are able to show higher numbers than Hyundai for that matter, because it will give them the encouragement, it will give them the inspiration to push harder, get more vehicles out of the market, and improve their vehicles also. So I think what's important over here also is that Tata Motors has got an 8% share, or their 8% of that entire volume that they sold or other wholesale in the month of May came in from electric vehicles. And that's the bigger bit, is that Tata Motors actually going down to grassroots level, making sure that their electric vehicles have that mass market appeal. 8% is not a small number today. It is a fairly large number, even though it meant 4,000 odd cars or something of that sort. But that's a still very very respectable number for electrification in this country today. So I think that is the more important message out here that everybody kind of missed, and everyone's talking about how Tata overtook Hyundai. But these are just wholesale numbers. These are the number of cars that Tata manufactured and sold out in the market to dealerships, not to consumers.
Okay, there's one more interesting question before we head into the news section. Mangesh wants to know even though electric is the buzzword these days, why are manufacturers leaving Formula E, with some even planning to enter Formula One? Has Formula E reached its peak?
Well, not entirely, Manish. There are several other issues that Formula E is going through, and also it's one of these. One of this is also because of the resurgence in viewership of Formula One. There are a lot more people who are now watching Formula One as well, and Formula E, of course, has a fantastic. The game plan is brilliant because Formula E doesn't really use purpose-built circuits. These are all most of them are all street races, and that's a brilliant plan and a brilliant strategy because it gives people who are watching the race a lot more access in that sense. So has it reached its peak? I don't think it has reached its peak. I think there is a lot more to come because so far there have been a few manufacturers and this will only increase over the next few years. Keep in mind, eventually even Formula One will have to shift towards electrification or towards electric powertrain. So Formula E certainly is the future in that sense. Yeah, I just getting there are other larger agendas that other manufacturers have to look after. Audi, for instance, is now looking at getting back into Le Mans 24-hour endurance racing as well, and their whole plan of going down the Formula E route entirely. They realize that it's not the most sustainable. They want to get back into endurance racing, and which will kind of give them, or rather, build the buzzword of reliability, longevity for them. And there are along with that, there are other manufacturers also that are looking at various other agendas that they've got. But participation in Formula will keep happening like participation in Formula One happens. There are manufacturers who step in, step out. Honda's leaving Formula One for that matter. Doesn't mean Formula One is going to die. So these changes will keep happening over a period of time. But what is clear is that Formula is here to stay and it will go on for a very, very long time to come.
Sorry.
Yes, go ahead.
Sorry, today I'm in office and there are a lot of distractions, sudden phone calls and stuff like that, which I can't get rid of. Oh, but also, just to add to that, McLaren is getting into Formula E. In fact, next year is when they are entering the sport. So you can't really say that, things are, Formula E has reached its peak. Anyway, moving on to the news section. Sorry, just give me 1 second. I don't even know how to cut the call here.
Hello? Hello? Hello?
Let's all say hello. Let's all.
And I'm on speaker. Vaibhav, can you please call back later? Cut. Okay. Okay, now I need to hunt for my news section. See, this I'm like at
Obviously,
a
work
complete
from home
loss.
issues are now being carried forward to work from office as well.
Really, it's 100 times better right now to work from home because there are too many distractions over here. Okay, I'll start off with the biggest launch from this week. That's Kia's blockbuster EV, if I can call it that, has launched in India starting at 59.95 lakh rupees for the rear-wheel drive single motor variant, going up to 64.95 lakh rupees for the all-wheel drive dual motor variant. Kia has also received over 350 bookings for the EV6. And they've said that they will bring in more units to meet the extra orders over the 100 planned for this year itself. The EV6 will be sold through 15 dealerships across 12 cities in the country. Deliveries are set to begin in September this year. And our next piece of news is the Hyundai Venue. The Hyundai Venue is going to be launching pretty soon. In fact, it's going to make its debut on the 16th of June. So here's what you... There's a... Sorry, I'm a little... I will come back to that particular video. We will move on to the next big news that is from this particular week. Tata Motors has claimed in a regulatory filing on May 30th that it has signed a memorandum of understanding with the Gujarat government for the future acquisition of Ford India's Sanand facility. Reasons why this is good news is because that would mean Tata Motors would acquire the state-of-the-art facility Ford India had set up, while also announcing their intent to invest in new gear and equipment in order to commission and prepare the unit for car production. This would most likely be used to ramp up electric production under the Tata Passenger Electric Mobility Division. The plan is to develop an installed capacity of 3 lakh units per year with the projected investments, which could be scaled up to more than 4 lakh units. Up next, we have news coming in from BMW. The next generation X1 has been unveiled, but the talking point has to be the introduction of iX1. The first time this model is coming in with an all-electric driving system. The automaker's entry-level SUVs will be distinguished by a big front grille flanked on each side by elegant headlights with integrated LED DRLs and turn indicators. While the traditional X1 will continue to be powered by a 2-liter turbo petrol and diesel powertrain, the all-electric car will be powered by a 64.7 kilowatt-hour lithium-ion battery pack and electric motor. Being in its smallest electric SUV, the iX1 will have a WLTP certified range of 438 kilometers per charge. With the aid of a 130 kilowatt DC fast charger, it will be capable of charging from 10 to 80% in just 29 minutes. Once the SUV is in international markets, we can expect it to be on our shores too. But Rohit, what are your thoughts on the X1, iX1?
Well, I think one will be priced, of course, lower than where the i4 is, which is great, and it'll of course bring a lot more consumers in. But I'm going to come back to these two stories. Today is the EV6 story, and of course the iX1 as well. And one of the bits of news that I've heard from Kia is that they've got about 350 odd bookings for the EV6, and they're thinking about local production of the EV6, which is fantastic for electrification in the country. But if I had to take that into account, I mean, I think a manufacturer like BMW should also be doing some serious numbers with the i4, and I don't see that coming in right now. So there are a few contradictions in the marketplace at this point in time. I guess over time we will know exactly as to what the state of affairs actually is, and whether Kia's claims of getting out that local production of the EV6 done, whether that will actually materialize or not, or what will be the plan over there. But it's kind of a wait and watch game. Now, with the iX1, if the i4 is priced at 69 lakhs, then the iX1 I would expect would be in that 60 lakh. iX1 would be in that 60 lakh bracket, which would mean it would compete against EVs like the EV6. And then it'd be very interesting to see which direction the market heads in, whether they would go, which would actually then bring out the question mark whether the EV6 really is value, or should we go in for the BMW at the end of the day. And well, the badge actually holds a lot of value. A lot of consumers definitely want a European badge in their garage. So maybe the iX1 could kind of bring in a lot more consumers. Let's just wait and watch and see what happens where BMW's iX1 is concerned.
All right, we have another bit of news. It hasn't been a secret that Maruti, Suzuki and Toyota are working on a mid-size SUV to rival the likes of the Creta, Seltos, Kushaq and Taigun. We caught it testing on Indian roads once again this week, and we managed to get a closer look this time. The new car seems to have adopted the ongoing trend of having split headlights and DRLs. With a fairly good ground clearance, the SUV also seems to be riding on 17-inch alloy wheels. The silhouette of the SUV is also similar to the existing Toyota's V4 crossover SUV, with the SUV featuring squared-off wheel arches and chunky tires. Rumors suggest the car will be priced between 12 to 16 lakh rupees, and it would only be available with a 1.5-liter petrol engine. It is also expected to
Very interesting picture. Also, this is let me thank a good friend of ours from Delhi who actually captured these images and sent it across to us. But if you go back to the picture, the frontal look, the wider one, Sohini, right there in the background. Yeah, this one, but the slightly wider frame. There's another wider frame.
I will have to play the video for that. Yeah.
Well, right there you can see there's a Brezza in the background, and you can see a few similarities in the design language right there. So it'll be interesting to see what Suzuki and Maruti and Toyota bring to the table, because this pricing is going to be a sticky one if Maruti can actually break the mold and go, or rather successfully go in the 10 lakh rupee bracket, plus 10 lakh rupee bracket, and they able to get good numbers out of it, well, Maruti will have kind of broken that mold or broken through that glass ceiling of theirs, where most of the cars are at affordable segments and they've not really been able to crack through into the premium segments. It may not be that tough for Toyota to do this. Toyota has already established itself in those segments, but for Maruti, this will be a big, big plan and a big game changer. Right? I think we can. Are we able to shut that video, or we're gonna have to wait?
Sorry. But are you on mute?
Yeah, I'm here, Sony.
Okay. Sorry once again. I was kicked out because the internet disappeared. Yeah. So we were done talking about the Maruti and Toyota crossover. But now it's time to finally take a look at the Hyundai Venue video that I spoke about just a few minutes ago.
So Hyundai is all set to launch the new Venue on the 16th of June 2022. Now this is not going to be an all-new car, it is going to be a facelift. The most obvious changes are going to be at the rear, but before we come to that, let's take a look at the front end. The grille is new. It is going to be finished in dark chrome. This is a finish that we are largely seeing on all new Hyundai and Kia cars, and it is going to get common going forward for these two brands. The other change, of course, is at the rear. You will get a seamless strip of LED lighting that will run across the length of the car, and then there will be vertical elements in the tail lights as well. Essentially, this design is done to give the car a wide as well as a tall stance. Also new is going to be the design of the wheels. It mimics the design theme seen in the grille, in the DRLs, in the taillights, so it has that chunky design theme to it, and a 5-spoke or a 10-spoke treatment, the way you look at it. And I think this is going to be another good highlight. It will obviously have the diamond cut finish, the two-tone finish, to go with the Hyundai design theme. At the rear, you will also see a mix of horizontal and vertical elements in the bumper, and quite a chunky scuff pad at the rear and also in the front. Hyundai is saying that the Venue is ready for the lit life. Now they haven't revealed many details about the cabin, but there will be nips and tucks inside the cabin as well. I'm also expecting more ambient lighting options compared to its sibling, the Sonnet. But more on that with the launch on June 16, 2022.
Rohit, there's a lot to talk in terms of two-wheeler news as well, so you can run us through that.
Sure. In fact, there is not a lot to talk, but the Triumph TE-1 has made an appearance in a production-ready avatar. This is still a prototype, of course, and the TE-1, if you guys remember, it was shown in a more concept form. There were concept sketches that were revealed sometime last year, around May last year, if I remember right. And now they are sort of teasing this motorcycle because it is ready to be revealed in its full production glory on July 12th. To refresh your memory, this vehicle is a result of a unique collaboration between Triumph Motorcycles, of course, Williams Advanced Engineering, Integral Powertrain Limited, and WMG at the University of Warwick, which is funded by the Office of Zero Emission Vehicles through Innovate UK. Now, this vehicle, like I said, was shown in its sketch form last year, and they said that they would take about 2.5 years to, get the production version ready. And while the COVID has delayed the plans a little bit, I think it is on course. What we see here seems, pretty production ready. It has that speed triple kind of a structure. That's the kind of silhouette it has right now. So expect the size to be around that. In fact, they're also hinted that the performance range would be comparable to the speed triple, the 180 horsepower speed triple. So this is quite interesting. And that little wheelie that they've shown right towards the end of the teaser video, that also tells you that it should be exciting to drive, exciting to ride. I'm sorry. So The details on the range, the battery capacity, the power of the motors, etc., is yet to be revealed, but it's not too far. Like I said, July 12 rather, is when it will debut. That is when all the details will be shared with us. So here's looking forward to what Triumph has in the electric space. That's all the news that we have from the two-wheeler space right now. And back to you, Sohini.
No, Rohit, we have news about the Bounce Infinity as well.
Oh, okay. Could you just play the video for that?
Yes.
Right. So Bounce Infinity, you guys are already aware of it. They also made news with the battery swapping. So it is literally one of the few electric two-wheeler companies in India that uses this interchangeable batteries. Now they have partnered with Bharat Petroleum (BPCL) to build EV battery switching stations. So these would be available at certain BPCL fuel stations across the nation. BPCL has over 20,000 pumps that will give you these kind of services, and
Hmm.
that will, I mean, it's of big strategic benefit for Bounce. And says that the energy infrastructure has witnessed over 1.2 million battery swaps, and in cooperation with the Bharat Petroleum, with the network of those 20,000 odd stations, it reaffirms Bounce's strategy of having these swappable batteries in the scooter, and that could actually be a game changer if the market were to adopt this. So it will start off with 10 cities across India for now, and then looking at the demand, they will of course uh, go forward with a lot more fuel stations which will offer this particular service for Bounce.
Okay.
So
Mm,
here's an interesting observation. I think someone brought it to our notice. Rohit, we had a meeting some time back, and then this is what with the whole battery swapping culture essentially, and why this may not be rather a successful model. It isn't a very successful model globally, also for that matter, with battery swapping. What we have to realize with this is, while that guy looks like he's lifting the battery up very easily and putting it into the swapping station, it's not that simple, because that battery pack weighs close to about 15 to 18 kilos. It's a fairly large battery pack. It's a
I've
very heavy
experienced
battery
it.
pack. Yes,
It's very
and
heavy.
it's not easy to do the swap. First of all, that's one. Second, and this is the bigger concern also over here, is that when you buy a new electric scooter, for that matter, and you go in for a swap, are you swapping your battery for a new battery or for an old battery? What are you getting in return? So if I have purchased a new scooter, the battery that comes back into my the battery that I start using after this, well, is that a new battery or is it an old battery? Which is why, of course, Bounce also has both the with the battery, without the battery price options that you can get into, the subscription options that you can get into. And I think a lot of people would kind of go in for the without the battery subscription option, rather than buying the battery, because of this entire reason. And you do not know what the state of that battery is, that how many times, how many cycles of charge has that battery gone through at some point in time, when it would go get through an issue. All of this becomes a little risky, and so there are a lot of issues with this whole battery swapping model. For that matter, I do hope Bounce is able to crack these, and it is certainly one of the more efficient solutions for electrification, especially where two wheelers are concerned. But it isn't. It may not be the safest or the most seamless and most value based operation that is available today.
Okay. Bought any news on Mitsubishi Motors India?
Nothing. A lot of speculation I've been seeing on Twitter, social media, about the new ambassador coming out and things like that happening, and lots of thing about the plant. But Mitsubishi, nothing. Ambassador also nothing at the moment.
Okay, Rohit, here's a question from Roshan. As the new 3 Series LCI has been revealed globally, does it make sense to buy the current 3 Series? Also, what is the fuel efficiency of the 320D?
Well, Roshan, I don't quite remember the fuel efficiency figures offhand, but you can just search on overdrive.in for the review. We have a road test review of the 320D, both in the long wheelbase format as well as the standard wheelbase. So you will get the figures right there, including all the other figures as well for acceleration, city, highway, fuel economy, etc. As far as the LCI goes, I think that facelift looks beautiful. So yeah, if you want that new look, maybe wait for it. But it also makes sense to buy the current 3 Series, because At some point, you'll also get certain benefits from the dealers in terms of the pricing, in terms of maybe some freebies with the car. I don't know. So you could always touch base with the dealer and see what kind of benefits they're offering you at the moment. But yeah, if you want the new design, might as well wait for it. The pricing, I don't think, is going to be very different from the outgoing car. Looking at how competitively they have priced, even the i4, so they will want to maintain that competitive edge over the competition. And as for the fuel economy figures, like I said, do check overdrive.in, or you could simply search for the review on our YouTube channel, and those figures will be right there.
Okay, Bert Alankar wants to know, does Volkswagen Group have any plans to launch diesel cars in India or go the EV route in the near future?
Well, there is plan for a diesel. It's not going to happen immediately. Volkswagen, the group, is working on a diesel engine for global markets, not just for India. And I think they will have one very, very shortly out in commercial production. But yes, it's inevitable that they will go down the electrification route. And for the diesel to come into India, possibly another 2 years away before the diesel makes its appearance here, if at all it makes its appearance here. By which time, I think Volkswagen may also be ready to go down the EV route, and diesel will no longer be an option for this country.
All right, Rohit, Ankit wants to know, between the C300D and the BMW 530D, he wants to know best in all circumstances, which one?
530D, of course, larger car, better space, bigger engine, lots of features.
Better
530D, of
performance.
course. Performance, yeah.
Okay.
Well, I think we've gone through most of the questions today for a change.
What about Peugeot? Prabhan wants to know.
Peugeot's not coming down to India anytime soon. No. Mahindra was trying to get the Peugeot brand into India as the scooters also, but I don't think that also is going to happen anytime soon.
Okay. Yes, so we have gone through most of the questions from this week and all the news. What we'll do is we'll give you a look at what we have on the show tomorrow on CNBC TV 18 at 1 p.m. You really don't want to miss this show. Some fun stories as well. Take a look.
Smoke up, that's in the blend. Free up the guys, then dip out the ends. Jump in the ride, then burn up the rims. Don't stop, don't clutch the boy, don't.
Think of the A35 as a kind of gateway drug to performance motoring. For someone like me who's new to track driving, it's a great learning tool.
Here's a little bit of a flying lap in the M340i. Me telling you why I like this car so much. And of course, when you get back on the gas, you've got so much happening to let you know just how much fun you're having.
A 0 to 100 of 3.9 seconds. Radical, incredible. This is a sedan you can go to the family wedding in, shopping with your kids in, and then just drop them off to the crash, head to the racetrack, and have a hoot.
For people who genuinely enjoy performance, it's for people who genuinely enjoy the relation between man and machine. That is what the A45 is all about.
Hey guys, so we're out here today with the Suzuki V-Strom SX, the company's first entrant into the quarter-litre adventure motorcycle segment out here in India. Well, this motorcycle was just launched just last month at 2,13,000 rupees ex-showroom.
BMW India may have been late to the EV party, but it's made up for it in more ways than one. And in the last 6 months, it's launched the iX, the Mini Electric, and now there's the BMW i4. Now, everything else aside, the i4 is the longest range EV you can buy in the country with 590 kilometers as per the WLTP.
So before we go, there is a question, Sohini, and you raised this up because you asked people to give you a thumbs up on the show, and someone has and wants an answer to their question as well. So I'm going to take this. S. Aurora has a question over here, and what he wants to know is where did I go? Which car would you suggest between 20 to 30 lakhs for a daily run of 75 kilometers in Delhi NCR? And a similar question is coming from Abhay Dukia 80. Also, is currently driving the Compass 1.480. Could you suggest a SUV around 25 like on road for 50 kilometers daily city drive? I think one of the better options over here, either the Creta or the Seltos. Those are the only two other options in that particular price bracket. I'm talking about the top end ones with the automatic transmissions. Those are the two better choices, guys, and that will fit within the 20 to 30 lakh bracket, especially for Abhay, because you want to move from the Compass to another car. And this will give you slightly, again, the difference between these are in the driving pleasure, the driving feel that you would get the Creta or the Seltos. Feel a little more car-like in the way you drive it. The Compass has got a lot more weight and heft to it, and of course, good off-road credentials. But on road, again, it's still got that weight that you can sense in the steering wheel. The Creta or the Seltos, for that matter, don't feel as heavy. They're a lot more fluid, a lot more dynamic to drive in a sense. So that would be my recommendation, going for either the Creta or the Seltos. And I'm hoping that we have more SUVs in that segment coming up in the future. Where you've got the Maruti Suzuki Toyota initiative coming up.
All right. Thanks so much for your questions this week. We'll catch up with you next week as well.
Yes, guys, thank you once again. Have a nice weekend and see you next Friday. Bye bye.
Bye bye.